Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Military Mondays. If you and I don't know each other, I am retired Brenda Sanchez and Major Brenda Sanchez. I forgot that. And I am the co-founder of Life's Real Currency with my husband, Michael Sanchez. And we help business owners save time and make more money, especially in the area of follow-up. So if you would like more information on that, please reach out to me. I do these Military Mondays every single Monday morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, like clockwork, just like in the military, unless, of course, technology doesn't cooperate with us. I did serve in IT in the Air Force, so, it doesn't always work. But I like to bring to you veteran business owners or spouses of veterans, or today, I actually have somebody on who has had a heart for the military for a very long time, since she was a teenager, and has been serving in a voluntary role in some form or fashion since she was a teen. And her partner is a Marine. So I met Dana a couple of months ago through a friend, and we had a conversation, and I just thought she was a super neat lady. And I thought you would all benefit from hearing about her background and what she does today to serve veterans and military families. So thank you so much for being on today.
Thanks so much, Brenda. It's so wonderful to be with you this morning.
Thank you. So give us a little bit of your background. Why do you have a passion? Why do you have a heart for the military? Why, as a teen, did you start volunteering to serve?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So it's women, to honor women and the month that we're in. I happen to go to an all-girls school, which said, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I think I really took that to heart. And so in my work in the past and today, it's always been those who serve. So military, and then also those on the front lines in government as well. So it's really important to me to be able to continue to give back. So I've been fortunate to be connected to lots of different resources, and I'm a sharer. So I like to really make sure that I make all things accessible so others can thrive and live their best lives.
Awesome. And of course, your partner is a Marine. So, you know what it's like, not just to volunteer, but to live a military life. So thank you for your service in that capacity also. So tell me, you've been volunteering. You and I had a conversation ahead of time. You've worked with the USO and many other organizations. Give my audience a little bit of your background and where you have served, what organizations you've served through.
Sure, absolutely. So I did some volunteer work and doing some care package work when I was in college. That was my beginning of all of this. And then moving along in my career, I served the Women Veterans Rock. So I was an invitee to teach these amazing women veterans, and just really talking about how to write your own narrative and lead in your own way and make some switches over out of the military. And then I've also served others in the space of mindfulness and meditation. So that's another space that I'm holding around really filling your tank and ensuring that you can fill your tank so that you can show up, because it's really important.
Absolutely, because especially in the military, I've lived that life for 27, well, I don't anymore, but I did live that life for 27 years. And it can be, especially early on in my career, when I worked 24/7, I had 24/7 ops that I was working. It can be very draining, and there's a lot of burnout. And so people need to be able to take a break and step back and to just rest and relax, at whatever that may be. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's just get away to the country, maybe it's get away to the beach, because some people, they get to the ocean and there's a zen about it for them. So now you like to coach and train, especially veterans, but obviously, even if you're not a veteran or a military spouse or that, it doesn't mean you can't reach out to her and get some help. But tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, absolutely. So 2 ways that I'm serving the most, and I forgot to say, I also served in the education space. So in doing all that work in terms of figuring out how to transfer military experience into college credit and really building your pathway that way. So I forgot to mention that piece. So, but yes, today, how this has all evolved is where I really saw a need was in terms of the coaching space. So I'm currently an executive and leadership coach, and I'm really focused on helping women really understand and own their narrative so that they can feel like they have a space that's held and that they're supported to live the life that they would like to, not have to kind of pick through the filing cabinet, right, of what's expected, but really I kind of see myself as a space holder and a path clearer, so that folks can really just own that space, right? It's especially hard as a female. So I'm currently coaching. That's one way I'm doing this work. And in addition, which anyone in your community is welcome, every week I run a free 15-minute live meditation. We have an amazing community, so those who serve in so many different ways, in government and other ways, who take that 15-minute time to kind of rest and reset. So I'm really finding that that is a really important thing right now, especially COVID, pandemic, lots of other world and US events going on. And so really just holding the space and giving permission to take that rest, right? And really learn, I focus on micro practices because we're busy. So I really try and spend time saying, hey, it's 30 seconds, you have 30 seconds. I'll teach you the 3 breath, exercise. Have a little bit more time. Sure, like here's something else you can plug in. So all about making that filling the tank part of your every single day, anytime, anywhere, because we all need it so much right now.
I love that. And do you have a time of day that you recommend for people to do that? Like, is there a best time of the day to do that?
Honestly, the best time, I say this all the time. So if anyone practices with me, you'll hear me say this, your practice is yours. So truly it's whenever you need it. So, if you're trying to get into a regular practice, I always say, set a reminder for yourself. So if you know that you can kind of steal a couple minutes when you first wake up, maybe you've got kiddos and that's not something that's going to work. Maybe it's lunchtime, maybe it's right before you go to bed. But really it's just whenever you need it, or those moments that pop up where we were just talking before we jumped on about a tech issue I had in some other work I was doing. And I said, in the moment, I was like, okay, 3 breaths. I can feel my body. I'm breathing. What's important right now, right? So it's really just when you need it.
Awesome. Yeah, I like to teach people to start their day and end their day with gratitude. So I didn't know if there was something to doing it in the morning or in the evening right before. But obviously, I do this throughout the day. And like you said, sometimes you're just driving and things have been crazy, or you're sitting in between meetings and all of a sudden it's just like, okay, I just need to breathe and get in that space. And I do that all the time. And I think I do it now that I'm thinking about it, it's conscious, but you know what I mean? I do it so regularly, it's unconscious. But for those that don't do it at all, you almost have to set a schedule. And then you can start practicing it through, at least in my experience, then you can start practicing it throughout the day. So I like what you said. Whenever you know that you have a few minutes that you can always, even if it's just at lunch in between bites of food, that's great to start, because getting in that habit, recently, my husband and I read Atomic Habits. And it's those tiny, tiny little habits compounded daily that make huge differences in your life and in your business. So I absolutely love that. You and I talked a few weeks back, and I think you also are working on helping women transition out of the military and into corporate life or owning their own business, or kind of helping them navigate that path, because you said, like you said, you can transpose what they did in the military into college credit or into what that speak is in the civilian world. and get acclimated. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so currently I'm really in the coaching space to really support that. Prior, and of course you can pick my brain anytime, I'm happy to. Prior life, prior Dana, spent a lot more time in the education space, but I have a slew of, resources or folks who could be helpful to anyone who's seeking that out. So that's near and dear to my heart. So anyone who needs to learn about that or is curious, I'm happy to support. But what I'm finding to be really powerful right now is leaning into the space for women to really understand and create their own narrative, as I was saying. So as I'm moving more into the coaching space, I'm really realizing that that's what's resonating most with me is really, and also my own experience, in being in this world as the military space as a partner, and also understanding what it means if you're a female and really owning that space for you, because I think it can be hard sometimes to own, well, but this is my space to figure out and do what I would like to, in terms of the career or whatnot. I know I haven't had to do this, but others move around, whatnot. There's the spouse jobs, if you will, and not knocking that at all. But I just feel really that it's really important to be holding space through a coaching lens to really be that thought partner, really be someone to ideate with you and figure out, but if it could be anything, what would you like it to be? What can it look like now? Maybe in the future it can look like this. Because I myself am doing that very much because it's really important to me to get to bring my full self to this as well, while also being a supportive individual within that community, and obviously to my partner as well.
Awesome. So we've talked about a lot of different things. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you wanted to share with the audience today?
No, I mean, I think really that's where my head's at right now in terms of where I'm showing up in the world. It's really holding space to make things like we just talked about, like filling your tank through mindfulness, meditation, yoga, making it accessible. So I welcome anyone who would like to come join me on Tuesdays, 11:15 Eastern, 15 minutes. We have a beautiful community. So anyone who wants to come and just start to build that micro habit. Also, if anyone wants to reach out, I'm happy to. I often do workshops about doing the micro practices and whatnot, or if someone just wants to ask me, I'm happy to share. And the coaching, I'm really, really just so it's such a joyful practice to be able to hold space so that especially women can really own their narrative and feel like it is realistic. So awesome. I want to be the human that steps in and says, yes, and I'd love to coach you through it.
Awesome. Yes, you can do this. Yes, just because you're a woman doesn't mean you can't be big and bad. And, I did put #badass. So because we both are badasses and we want to teach other people to do the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard, right? Because there's such a strict narrative around females in the workplace, females, attached to partner, whatever. It might not even be in the military community. So I just feel like it's super important to be supporting and empowering one another. Like, own your space, and I'm here to be the thought partner with you, because it's a hard journey to do solo. So I'm raising my hand to say I'm one of the ladies out here saying, let's do it together.
Awesome. And so if you would do me a favor and put down in the chat that the meditation, where they can find you, how they can get plugged into that, and then your contact information, if you would put that in the chat so that people can reach out to you, that would be awesome. I really appreciate you being on. If you had one piece of advice to give somebody getting ready in the next 3 to 5 years, getting ready to separate from the service, even if it's a spouse and their spouse is getting ready to separate, what piece of advice would you give them?
I think first and foremost, it's making the space for you. So spending the time so you have the time to vision. I think we often don't give ourselves that time because we can have all the great ideas, but if we don't know the guideposts at the end that we're looking for, then we're going to get overwhelmed in the resources. And trust me, there's a lot of them out there. So I'd say take the time now to really vision, and don't let anything hinder what that vision is. Go big, go bold,
Awesome.
Blue sky. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. And if you are a military spouse or you're a veteran that owns a business, you might be serving currently right now. I'd love to have a conversation with you and maybe feature you on one of my Military Mondays, like I have Dana. She's an amazing lady. If you don't know who she is, you ought to reach out and have a short conversation with her. Connect on Facebook. If you've found value today, would you please share this with your network? Even if you've watched it and for some reason you haven't found value, hopefully we added value to your life today. But if you'd still share it with your network, because there's somebody that needs to hear this message today to be able to connect with her. And then she can help them in the transition or just take ownership of their life and their career. So thank you so much for being on today, Dana. I really appreciate you. And I appreciate you taking time out of your, well, it's not really Monday morning for you because you're on the East Coast, but yeah. Taking time out of the middle of your day on a Monday to be with me here. So I hope to see all of you on a future Military Monday. So bye, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye.